Let's check in with Las Vegas, see what the win total projection is for your Spurs next season, and Wemby's cleared to play.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's by San Antonio. And as always, I'm glad to have you back. You guys are the everydayers. Keep coming here every single day to Locked On Spurs for your first and only stop for all things silver and black. Subscribe at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. You know where to go. Go subscribe right now. By the way, thank you, everybody, getting Locked On Spurs YouTube now at officially over 8,000 subscribers. So y'all are doing a bang-up job. Keep on hitting that subscribe button every time you visit here. Hey, so what are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at the Vegas win total. Now, Vegas has them in the low 40s. We're going to give you the specific number in a bit. Should you take the over-under on that? If you're a betting person, if you're in Vegas right now, see Las Vegas Summer League, would you be placing the bet on the over the under? You know, we're going to be talking about why they might be hitting that mark or maybe going over it or maybe not even reaching that mark at all. And then give me some Wemby news. Wemby says that he is 100% ready to go to practice full contact, no more blood clot issues, and he'd like to remain a Spur for life. We've heard that before, haven't we, with other past players? We'll discuss that and more on this episode of Locked On Spurs. Going to bring in our guest. He is back, everybody. He is Mr. Mike Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast with a brand new, spanking new Spur logo behind him there. That's a pretty cool logo, man. What is it? Is it just like a painting?
No, it's a piece of wood. It's a little wood sculpture, if you will. So
yeah,
I like
it's cool. I like it right now. Yeah, I like
it. Is proof that I'm a Spurs fan, not a Spurs troll, is what this is.
Or a Rockets fan, right? I heard that one.
Exactly.
By the way, you look good in a Rockets jersey, by the way. It's shirtless too, with no undershirt.
Yeah, I saw that picture of me. It was fake, man. It's all AI. All Photoshop.
Man, it looks too real. It looks too real. It looked too real. Let me guess. Was it Swiss again out there on
Double Banks?
Yeah, probably was Swiss. Yeah. He is Mike Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Again, we'll be talking about his show in just a few minutes. He and Joe Garcia's Area 210 Podcast. And he's even repping the show on his t-shirt there. Look at that alien
logo. They have the alien.
I always tell Joe when he comes on, I go, Joe, be alarmed. There's an alien behind you. He's going to get you. Because he always puts it in the background on his TV.
Yeah.
So I love it there. Yeah. But anyway, Jimenez, thanks again for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Let's dive into it. So you brought this to my attention. Vegas oddsmaker DraftKings recently put out the updated Spurs win total projection for next season. And right now it's hovering at 42.5. Now, Jimenez, that will likely go up or down depending on how the offseason continues for the Spurs. But that is a good trend. If you're looking for just tracking points, just trends, over the last few years, Vegas has little by little increased the win total. Little by little. It was 1 year, 22.5. They nailed it. Last year, it was 33, 35 around there. They nailed it again. Now we're up to 42.5 now this season. Vegas knows all. Jimenez, are you buying or selling the win total?
I'm buying. It just basically shows that Vegas likes the moves that the Spurs are making. The drafting of Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant in the draft, getting Luke Cornett and Kelly Olynyk in free agency or trade. It's a big move for the Spurs, and the Spurs are a much better team than they were last year. We're now expecting to have Victor Wembanyama back. He's he's been cleared to play this upcoming season. Deep vein thrombosis not going to be an issue. Vegas likes what the Spurs are doing. The Spurs are getting an identity, and obviously that identity is more and more about defense. You see that with Carter Bryant. You see that with Jeremy Sohan. But then you add that to the fact that you have a De'Aaron Fox who one time led the league in steals. You add that to the fact that you have Wemby, who should have won Defensive Player of the Year if it wasn't for the condition. The Spurs are going to be a very, very tough team to score on. The big question is going to be, are the Spurs going to score enough points to win those 42.5 games? But the trend line is going up because it was around 36 before the season, or right before the lottery. Now it's jumped up to 42.5. You see other teams losing players to injury, losing players to free agency. Spurs have better odds than Utah, Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, and New Orleans right now, and are right in the mix there with Dallas and the Clippers And maybe only 1 or 2 games is going to be separating those teams when it's all said and done. But the 8th best odds right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, you're a Spurs fan. You love it. You love all these signs, read the tea leaves that the Spurs are going to have a good season. 42.5 should get you into the play-in, if not, knock on the door, depending on how the West shakes up. It's again, the West is just stacked. But nevertheless, that should put the Spurs at minimum in the play-in position, hopefully get into the playoffs. Now, 42.5 from last year's win total. What was it last year? The ones 34. So that's a significant jump. That's a pretty big lead by NBA standards. I'm assuming that Vegas is looking at the addition of Harper, as you mentioned. The big one is Wemby's return at 100%. So obviously that's a big, big check on the to-do list for the Spurs to get more wins. But do you think another type of reason why you're seeing an increase in the win total projection? I'm just throwing it out there just to get your reaction, just to get your opinion. I'd love to hear what you have to say. The addition of Mitch Johnson as the new head coach, do you think that factors into it? Pop's not involved anymore. The training wheels are off for Mitch Johnson next year. It's his team, and you're seeing little by little he's forming his team. Sean Sweeney, Corliss Williamson on that staff right now. He's trying to put his stamp on there. How much do you think it swayed Vegas to giving the Spurs a little bit more of a bump in win total?
I think a little bit. I mean, the Band-Aid's been pulled off, and we now know the direction of the team. And we know that this is going to be Mitch Johnson's team, and Mitch Johnson is getting the bench around him, the assistant coaches that he wants. It's taking on his personality, and he seems to have the stamp of approval from a lot of the players. Mitch Johnson, knowing that he was thrown into the fire, right? The season had just started, 5 games in, and Pop goes down with a stroke, and we all thought, he'll be back in a few weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks. That was the idea that a lot of people had. It ended up being the entire season, the entire career, is over for Greg Popovich. But Mitch Johnson having some normalcy within the team, the continuity of him still being there for a second season is a big deal. I think, but more importantly for Vegas, I think they look at the talent that the Spurs have, because we've listed off 8 or 9 names, but the one name that we haven't listed off is De'Aaron Fox. We now have a floor general in his prime who's capable of making an all-star team and has done it before. And you take a look at last year's team, they have 34 wins. Wemby was gone 40% of the year. De'Aaron Fox only played here 17 or 18 games, and he was injured the entire time. Sohan missed significant time. We had a 40-year-old, a 39-year-old point guard in Chris Paul, who was at the end of his career as a starting point guard. We had Stephon Castle, who won Rookie of the Year, but he was new. He was a rookie. He was just getting his feet wet when it came things going, and he didn't finally get things ramped up until January, February, where it started looking more and more like the Rookie of the Year that he was going to be. The Spurs are a lot deeper of a team. You look at the guard play. You look at Fox, Harper, Castle, Vassell. That is a solid foursome of players right there. You look at the down low, the wings, defensively, a Sohan, Carter Bryant, Champagnie. You're looking at a team that is grounding into shape. It's not as sexy as if it would have been if you had brought in a Giannis or a Kevin Durant, but the team is actually better. And I keep asking Spurs fans this question because I'm called a troll all the time when it comes to it all. But the question you need to ask yourself is, are the Spurs better because they did X, Y, and Z? Are the Spurs better because they got De'Aaron Fox? Yes. Are the Spurs better because they won the lottery, got the number 2 overall pick, and got Dylan Harper? Yes. Are the Spurs better because they got Kelly Olynyk? Yes. Are the Spurs better because they got Luke Cornett? Yes. I will say this, Brian Wright, as much grief as I've given him over the years, has done a lot of good things the last 15 months. It's kind of like he finally figured out how to be an effective GM. The Spurs still have a lot of their draft capital. You never know what's going to happen to those Atlanta swaps and picks and that Boston pick down the road and whatnot. But I think the Spurs are trending in the right direction, and I think Vegas, the odds makers, are taking notice.
All right. Well, we're highlighting why Vegas is right and giving the Spurs a bump in win total projection, 42.5 right now. But why would you want to take the under? Why would you say, no, I'm going to sell that? We're going to talk about that in just a few seconds right here on Locked On Spurs with Mike Jimenez. He's an Area 210 podcast. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Hey, but first of all, I talked about Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. There's so many things that Monarch Money can do for you. You can start tracking your spending, as I mentioned. What else? We'll just have an easier way to manage your money day to day. If you share finances with somebody else, Monarch helps you stay on the same page with them. And look, they just got it all. That's where you got to go to Monarch Money right now. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Michael Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast. He's on X at MJ Acquired Taste. He's up talking about his show and Joe Garcia's show in just a few minutes and why you should be tuning in. Now, we're putting into focus the recent updated Vegas win total. Right now, they have them at 42.5 heading into next season. And we get it. We highlighted it in the first segment, Jimenez, from the player additions, number 2 pick in the draft, the free agent pickup of Olynyk, the list goes on and on. They are trending in the right direction. You're absolutely right. But if one thing that could be hampering them from maybe getting 42.5 is they haven't addressed the other big elephant in the room, and that is three-point shooting. This is an NBA league era where you're going to win games, series, playoff series, playing series by the three, or you're going to die by the three. And that's been the biggest Spurs knock in the last few years outside of backup for Wemby. Now, they addressed that, but still, they seem to be lacking snipers on this squad. Perhaps that's the reason why you would want to take the under, maybe sell on the Spurs reaching 42.5 because they're not keeping up with the times. They don't have legitimate, reliable three-point threats on the roster. Sure, you got Champagne, but has he been consistent? Sure, there's Harrison Barnes, but is he going to cool off this season? What about Vassell? He's okay, but he's not consistent. You see where we're going with this, Jimenez. Do you think that could be a big drawback and why people should sell on 42.5 wins for the Spurs?
Oh, big time. We did get Luke Cornett, who can spread the floor a bit, right? So he can knock down a three from time to time. Well, actually, I'm thinking more of Kelly Olynyk can do that. Luke Cornett doesn't shoot the three. It's Kelly Olynyk, rather, that can knock down the three and do so at a 35 to 37% clip. Kelly Olynyk was at the Summer League there in Las Vegas cheering on his new teammates out there. So I think that was a very good pickup, and the Spurs had wanted Kelly Olynyk for years. He had been rumored to be going to the Spurs. Luke Cornett coming in at 7'2" from Boston to play center and back up Victor Wembanyama defensively and kind of pick up the slack there defensively when Wemby's out is a big deal. You can also have these twin tower type of matchups there. I mean, that's over 14 feet of defense right there.
Oh, yeah.
But the shooting is interesting because that's a thing that the Spurs need to have. It's analytically, you need to have 3-point shooting out there. And as you mentioned, Julian Champagnie is somebody who can go lights out from time to time. It's kind of like Bryn Forbes back in the day, can go lights out from time to time and then disappear for 2, 3, or 4 games. You don't have that consistency from him. Devin Vassell, volume 3-point shooter, but is he going to get the volume that he normally likes and needs? Because he has other people to play on the outside of that 2-3 position, whether it be Harper or Castle or whomever. And then you have to ask yourself the question, what if the Spurs were to play a Carter Bryant, Jeremy Sohan lineup? At that point, you have 2 players who have difficulty finding their shot, difficulty making shots consistently. They're going to be dared to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So that is an issue there. And you're watching the Summer League there. And as I mentioned on my podcast earlier today, I've never been so emotionally invested in a summer league than I have this year for the Spurs. It is like Hard Knocks Spurs edition.
It is.
And I'm hoping and cheering for Riley Minix, who made the game winner against the Jazz Summer League team this week. And I'm hoping and praying that David Jones-Garcia both make the team, not as a 2-way contract, but as an actual member of the 15-player roster, because what can they do? They can shoot from the outside.
Right, there you go.
And David Jones-Garcia put up 28 points against the Jazz. Guess what? He did off the bench. He didn't need to start. He's comfortable at the starter. He's comfortable coming off the bench. He had experience 4 years of college at St. John's, at Memphis, DePaul, big programs out there. 1 year of G League experience where he made first team all G League. The guy is ready to play, and he's been balling out 5 games in a row, shooting over 60% from three in the summer league. The guy can find a shot. A little lazy sometimes in dribbling. There's some plays where he kind of takes his eye off the ball. But 90% of the time, the guy knows what he's doing. He has this confidence and swagger. He's ready to be an NBA player. Riley Minix, if you told me, Michael, Riley Minix and Jones-Garcia are the last 2 players on this team to make the roster, I'd be a happy man.
Me too. Yeah, and perhaps that's where the Spurs are going to look to address their 3-point shooting need, is what's going on in Vegas right now with Minix and Garcia there. But, more than Minix in just a bit with Garcia, it just worries me a little bit because the position he plays, they got an abundance of them. And would he, just as an NBA player, will want to be going to a team buried on the bench, or maybe going to a team that will give him minutes? So, for those of y'all who don't know, a lot of the players on the Summer League rosters, most of them, not all, but most of them, any team can scoop them up. So let's just say it's whatever, Houston. Houston can look at the Spurs Summer League squad and go, oh, who is this Jones-Garcia? Let's get him. And they're done. I mean, it's that easy. And I think that's perhaps the reason why maybe the Spurs haven't really given him a contract offer as of this recording, because of the fact that they have an abundance of guards. They got a lot of them. And we saw the Spurs recently ship out 2 of them, Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley, to Washington for Kelly Olynyk. So that's the only rub there. But as far as Minix is concerned, if he's going to get San Antonio minutes versus Austin minutes, and he's doing it, he's knocking down the 3, being clutch as we saw in the Summer League play, and he perhaps has a foot in the door in that direction, but he's going to have to get those minutes. So he has to prove it now. He has to prove it in training camp. He has to prove it in preseason and whatnot. But it feels like even with that Jimenez, they still lack snipers. Now,
No, they do.
Now, Castle, he got better as the season went on during his rookie season, but it wasn't great. Wemby, he makes them at least. A lot of Spurs fans hate the fact he doesn't play in the post, but at least he can nail them. But do you really want your best sniper to be Wemby? Do you really want your best sniper to be Olynyk? You need a guy to create the shot, hit the 3 from your wing or your guard position. The Spurs don't have. I think collectively, Jimenez, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think Castle, Fox, and Harper, they're not great long-distance shooters, are they?
I mean, Harper, if I'm not mistaken, shot 34% from 3 in college, and I know it's a shorter distance than the NBA, which 34% is not bad. It's just not good. It's something to build on. It's a lot better than what Castle did in college and what he did in the first year when he won Rookie of the Year. Harper's not that bad of a player, and I like Harper. I love him. I love the guy. And people were knocking him because he was missing some shots in the game against the Utah Summer League team. And it's just he didn't have his legs, man. He hadn't played since March. He wasn't in basketball condition yet. I think he's doing pretty decent compared, knowing that he's rusty out there. We're all hoping that somebody takes a leap on this team, whether it be Stephon Castle with his shooting, whether it be Sohan with the shooting. Somebody take a leap other than Wemby, because we know Wemby's going to be the defensively, and we hope that Wemby shoot 34-35% or better.
Well, we're not too impressed with Carter Bryant's shooting in the Summer League so far, right?
It's a little 20%.
Yeah. So he might need some work there. Any chance we get Chip England back from OKC? Probably not, right?
Well, no, but I will say this, going back to Jones-Garcia real fast. When Stephon Castle was interviewed by ESPN over the weekend and they brought up Jones-Garcia, dude, he lit up, man. Castle lit up. Castle was like, that's my guy. I've known him for over a year. I used to play with him in a different league, and
bucket, man.
I used to do all this different stuff with him. That he's a good teammate. He's a good locker room type of guy. The way that Castle framed Jones-Garcia was so enlightening, and it was so fun to listen to and fun to watch. As you mentioned, any team can come in and swoop him.
Yeah.
If the Spurs lowball him by offering him a two-way contract, making a couple $100,000 a year, right? I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Or another team coming in and offering him a league minimum of like $2 million, he's gonna take the $2 million. Someone's gonna have him on the roster. It's just whether the Spurs are gonna be that team. But I think that Jones-Garcia might look at this team and think to themselves, hey, I like the rapport I have with these guys already. They like me already. I like them. I think it'd be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and that's perhaps the biggest reason why, if somebody's going to place a bet on that win total projection of 42.5, maybe feel a little gun shy because the Spurs haven't addressed that area of the roster. Now, of course, obviously he's still very young. The trade deadline's not for months and months and months from now. So there's still that. So maybe somebody will shine. Maybe Carter Bryant snaps out of his shooting funk. Minix continues to shine. Maybe somebody does take that leap, whether that's Champagny, whether that's Castle, Harper. We'll see what the Spurs do. But yeah, but 42.5, of just looking at it as a whole, ignoring the fact that that the shooting woes are not an issue there. I think that sounds about right. 42.5 sounds about right. The issue though is, man, if they miss at a minimum the play-in again, right, still hit that 42.5 for your mark right there, man, that tells you A, the West is that freaking tough, or B, the Spurs still have just a little bit more work to do. He is Mike Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. When we get back, we'll be discussing Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, he had a few things to say. By the way, he's back, everybody. You'll see what we're talking about right here on Locked On Spurs. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Michael Jimenez. He is back, everybody. Make sure to follow on X at MJ Acquired Taste. He's going to talk about his show and Joe Garcia's show, Area 210 Podcast, in just a few seconds. Now, so Wemby news came out via French publication L'Equipe that A, he's raring to go. No more blood clot issues. He's been given full clearance by doctors to get into that practice facility and mix it up. Don't worry about getting hit and that issue, blood clots being an issue. So he is back, and I think to paraphrase here, just really relieved, raring to go. But it could have fooled me, Jimenez, right? Doing bicycle kicks on the pitch in Costa Rica or Asia, and training with Shaolin monks and throwing karate and kung fu kicks. Are you sure he wasn't clear to go maybe months ago, Jimenez?
Probably, but I haven't been impressed by any of that, man. I roll my eyes every time I see the monk thing, and
he was trying to do the Jimenez. He's just having fun.
When I see him do the bicycle kick, I'm like, please get up and stop doing that. Yeah. Please.
I thought, okay, with the bicycle kick one, I thought that was pushing it a little bit too much, right? When I was like, Wemby, you need to chill.
I liked him playing horse with that teenager. That's fine. That's
fine. Yeah. Yeah, but apparently he went training in the monk's temple where you have to jump from boulder to boulder or something like that. And I was like, oh, great. Just one bad slip. It's just roll your ankle. You roll your ankle or you break a leg. But luckily he did not do that. So that's really good to hear. So Wemby's back 100%. Hopefully he'll stay that way for the rest of the upcoming season. But the other thing he mentioned in the same interview was he was talking about his future and where he sees himself, throughout his NBA career. And he says a Spur. He said he would love to stay with the Spurs for the rest of his career. Now, we've heard many a superstars say that. Kawhi Leonard said that in San Antonio. Shaquille O'Neal said that in Orlando. The list goes on and on. Kevin Durant. I mean, pick a star. They probably said it at one point in their career. Maybe even LeBron James in the Cavaliers. Jimenez, you're known for ruffling some feathers among Spurs fan base. Should Spurs fans put stock into that?
0% stock in it.
Okay.
It is a business. It is not a family. There is no Spurs family or anything like that. It is a business. Part of the Spurs family was who? Trey Jones. Where is he? He's gone. It was Zach Harper. Gone. George Hill, gone. The Spurs got traded George Hill. He was a pop favorite, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, it warms the heart of many a Spurs fan to hear Wemby say that. But as you mentioned, we saw Kawhi Leonard say that and leave. Mm-hmm. You posted the other day that this month or this past week was the 25-year anniversary of what?
Oh, yeah. Tim Duncan's to Orlando.
Flirting with Orlando, going and meeting with them, seeing them, checking out the facilities, all that stuff, right? So even the great Tim Duncan, the greatest Spur of all time, wanted to kick the tires on another organization. Now, the way that the contracts work, though, Wemby's on year 3 now of a 4-year deal. After that, he becomes a restricted free agent. And he'll be with the Spurs another 4 years after that, or be contractually obligated to be with the Spurs for another 4 more years. Does that mean he's going to be there for a total of 8? It just means that he'll be on the Spurs roster, or at least
Right.
contracted with us for another 6 years or so. But that doesn't mean that he can't wiggle out. It doesn't mean that he can't demand a trade down the road or whatever the case may be. Whenever a Spur player or any athlete, doesn't matter if it's a Spur, if it's a Cowboy, a Texan, a whomever, whenever they talk about quote unquote loving the franchise or whatever the case may be, I roll my eyes because it is public relations 101 to say things to make the fans happy.
Yeah.
And maybe he feels that way right now. Maybe he feels that way right now, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to feel that way 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But I will say this, though. Seeing him at Spurs Summer League and seeing basically the entire roster out there has warmed my cynical heart.
Look at you, man. Is getting sentimental here a lot.
I got sentimental. I didn't see Castle there for one.
Oh, he was there.
Summer League. He was there Saturday. You didn't go to the first one, right? So you have all of the different Spurs players out there, plus Sohan's girlfriend, all sitting together. And it warms my heart. And it warmed my heart seeing Keldon Johnson wearing a cowboy hat outside of.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that he wears he's okay with the cowboy hat there. See, we got to get a picture of him in that cowboy hat now instead of replacing this very old photo of him still wearing number 3. By the way, you think he goes back to number 3 next year? He stays better.
He better, man. He's a different player at 3, man. He's a different player.
But anyway, circling back to the Wemby, words that he said about San Antonio, I appreciate that. I do. But I'm with you too. It is a business. Whoever thought that Luka Doncic would get traded from Dallas? It happened.
Right.
It happened. It shocked the world. Shocked the sports world when it happened.
The Spurs traded Sean Elliott.
Yeah, they traded Sean Elliott. Now, granted, Wemby and Sean different levels, but nevertheless, he still was, a pretty damn good player for the Spurs. And that was in Sean's peak still. Sean was still in his peak years, before he got shipped to Detroit. So it does happen. And even happens to even aged veterans like the Iceman Gerben, traded from San Antonio to Chicago. It happens. Now, again, money talks, he seems to be okay. The other news is that, not news, but just point that I want to bring up is he is an international player. You see a lot of international players stick with their teams more often than not. You see that with Giannis right now. He was reportedly flirting, leaving with Milwaukee, but he's been on several, like a social media shows, I guess, or caught him on video saying, he's likely going to stay in Milwaukee. That happens. Look at Joker. Joker likely is going to stay in Denver. It will take like a trade of what we saw with Luka Doncic, that magnitude maybe for Wemby to leave San Antonio. But I think he sure would love to stay in San Antonio. But things happen in the future. We just don't know what could happen. But it was still good to hear. I think it definitely is good to hear for Spurs fans, knowing that their franchise player wants to stay in San Antonio, because San Antonio gets a knock for being nothing there, like nothing to do for young players, young rich men in San Antonio. I think there's on social media right now, there's commentary about how Dylan Harper is going to hate San Antonio because he lived in the New York area for 19 years of his life and he comes to San Antonio. And say, oh, well, at least he can work on his craft. There's that.
Well, you
lived
in New York for quite a while, right?
I lived in New York for 2 decades, 20 years, yeah.
And is there an difference in my life? Is there a big difference?
It is night and day. Night and day.
And that's why international players work well in small markets. It's because they're not dazzled by it. I mean, Parker, Wemby, they were from Paris, for crying out loud. They're not going to be dazzled by Houston or Miami or New York. They're like, yeah, you know what? I want to be in the best situation because I'm going to go.
Houston is probably just like a neighborhood in Paris for them. You're like, oh, it's just a neighborhood. Yeah,
it is. So it's kind of funny. It's the American players that gravitate towards the bigger cities and want to have that. Yeah. And, you look at SGA from Canada. He's fine in Oklahoma City. But Wemby is maybe he likes the fact that it's a small market. We discount that. It's all about the personality. It's also about the maturity level of said player.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens.
It doesn't seem like Wemby's a partier. Like, I don't see Wemby.
I get some vibes like that, just little vibes that he likes a little bit of the nightlife.
I don't. Maybe he's more
I get a little vibe.
light type of thing, where
Okay, maybe that's what I should say. A socialite. Yeah, there you go.
he likes going
that-
galas and stuff like that. But
Galas, yeah.
I'm talking about hitting up the club at 3 a.m.
So maybe like pulling the James Harden.
James Harden.
Yeah.
He's not going to various gentlemen's clubs in Atlanta, is what I'm saying. I don't picture him as being that. I mean, we know there are some Spurs players who like to party. We know that, right? I don't think he's the one. Willie Anderson, whoa. Last of the pass or number 40. My goodness. He was my favorite, man.
Olynyk still partying in San Antonio too, big time.
Dude, Willie Anderson was a master of the 15-foot turnaround jumper, man. Just run.
No, he was a master of never making the three, but having his toe
on the line.
Yeah,
Mr. Toe on the line.
It's like 1 more inch, Willie. But anyway, but yeah, I appreciate it. Spurs fans appreciate Wemby's words about staying in San Antonio, but again, we don't know the future. We just don't. Right? We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a dark day though if that ever does happen in San Antonio. That would be pretty bad to see Wemby leave. But I don't think I'm just crossing fingers that will never ever happen. He is
process. Does he trust the process?
He's saying he's trusting the process. Every time they talk about the construction of the roster, he's saying like, "Yeah, I trust the process. Oh, we don't need to go get a big name other star. We're good with who we got." So he seems to be trusting the process. We'll see that process does pay off in titles and deep playoff runs in the future for Wemby. He is Mike Jimenez with Area 210 Podcast. Mike, tell us about Area 210. Why should fans go check it out and subscribe?
We're nearing 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. Numbers are getting higher and higher. It's funny. I thought that our numbers would go down during the off season, but actually it's picking up pretty tremendously right now. We have the alien logo. We're on every day from 10 a.m. to 11:30, Monday through Friday on YouTube. Sometimes we simulcast on Twitter and on Facebook as well. But we have a lot of Spurs talk. I mean, I'd say probably 50% of our show is Spurs talk. And we have various Spurs fans from Spurs Twitter chime on in. We have various guests. In the past, we had Goldberg, the wrestling superstar.
That's cool.
We've had the Von Erichs. We've had a lot of different people over. We had what's it called? UTSA's former quarterback on our show. It's been a fun time. It's been a fun ride. But what we're showing is consistency. We've now done 400 episodes almost of this podcast. We have a very good community of listeners. We're really big believers in the podcast environment in the San Antonio area, whether it be us in the building with Rudy J and Mike Taylor, whether it be Rudy Campos Jr., Jesus doing the plead. All of them are doing a bang-up job, and it's just a different way of listening to a show and being able to listen to it at your leisure, not necessarily at a particular time slot on the radio or on the TV dial. So come join us, watch a lot of Spurs talk. Jeff Garcia is oftentimes on, typically on Wednesdays during the season.
Yep.
And we talk a lot of Spurs. We'll be talking a lot of Cowboys, a lot of Texans, a lot of UT football, A&M, a lot of Astros when the playoffs start. We're a fun time. We do a lot of pop culture references, a lot of movie, a lot of music and stuff like that. 10 o'clock to 11:30 on YouTube. Follow me at MJ Acquire Taste. And again, you can follow the Area 210 podcast or the Alamo City Podcast Network and find us there on YouTube.
Absolutely. That's why follow Jimenez as well on X at MJ Acquire Taste. Jimenez, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're a busy guy. We'll let you go. But as always, we appreciate you. And everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go subscribe ASAP. Don't forget to check out Locked On NBA. That's on YouTube as well. Just search Locked On NBA and catch up on everything going on in the NBA world this offseason. And kids, as we always learn, always let the Wookiee win. Always let the Wookiee win. And with that, we're going to put a lot in this episode of Locked On Spurs. So for Mike Jimenez, I am Jeff Garcia. Let's lock it up right here on Locked On Spurs.